Okay, so first and foremost, if you're looking for an action-packed video, this is not the one for you. I've got bad news there. This video, just for something different this week, it's been a hell of a intense last few days. I've basically spent the majority of it driving, getting this van back on the road. So I figured just for this week, I'm going to touch on how I make money doing what I do, and also how you can too, because this is something I get asked a fair bit from the younger people, especially about, like, you know, how things work is probably the best way I can sum it up. So we're going to get into this video. I'm going to try to keep to a relative structure and hopefully answer a few questions to help you out. Yeah. Okay, so right, here we are. First and foremost, my business here, OXS Enterprises, started in 2008 with making skimboards, manufacturing skimboards. Now, this for me, I felt for myself was a very good way to start, because there was a very big hole in the market here in New Zealand at the time, and it was a very good way to basically just attack something in a creative manner that worked. Obviously, on a scale of New Zealand, everything's quite small, but it was a great way to kick off actually earning money out of something that I love doing basically straight away. The process into making spearfishing equipment has been longer already than it was with skimboarding. So, I've hardly gotten started. So basically I myself personally am driven by, I'm not driven by money, I'm driven by my desire to do fun stuff every single day. I would like to do that for a job. I would like to go skimboarding and spearfishing and surfing and out on boats and do all this sort of stuff every single day. That is my motivation for my life. I would like to do it with Danny, and in the future I'd like to do it, with a family or something like that. That is my motivation. The big but there is money. This will cost money. It obviously costs money to survive, and it obviously costs money if you're going to be traveling and trying to sail around the world and like all that sort of stuff. So I make that very clear, is that my motivation is to do it every day, but the byproduct of that and the evil necessity is money. Now that's extended to any of you young guys out there wanting, like, if you just wanted to go spearfishing and make that your career, you're going to have to work out how to make money. You have to be driven to make money, because life is bloody expensive. And you're going to have to, it's very easy to have money outgoing, and it's very difficult in a creative field to have it incoming. So let's say you're in a creative field, you're motivated to surf for the rest of your life, skim for the rest of your life, dive for the rest of your life, whatever it is. Maybe you want to knit for the rest of your life. I don't know, like whatever it is. You essentially do not want to be in a normal line of work. You don't want a 9 to 5, you don't want to be subject to someone else's rules, all that sort of stuff. That's what I'm targeting here, and this is how I do it. Now, like I touched on with making skimboards at the very start, I had a product very early on. Now that generates money, and that gives you the ability to do this more, hopefully. Obviously, selling skimboards in New Zealand is a very small market, and I can tell you now, it is many tens of thousands of dollars away a year for me to be self-sufficient off that. It has never been close. It probably never will, but it is a big part of what I do. I do 20 hours a week at the caretaker at one of the schools up here. So I mean, that's a conventional job, flexible. I like it. So I've mentioned skimboards. I'm trying to get into selling spearfishing equipment. Now, whenever you're developing a product or something, if you think, yeah, I'm going to sell something, make my own brand, it is very difficult. It is the easiest time ever to set something up, but it is probably the most difficult time as ever to make an impact. Like if you wanted to start up a t-shirt company, there's so many t-shirt companies. 20 years ago, it used to be like Billabong, Quicksilver, the bigger labels, and to start something up small, I would have thought would be much easier than it is today. It's easy to set up now, but it's much harder to have an impact. It's the same with any product manufacturing, anything like that. Which is why, again, I don't depend on any of my livelihood for those things. It obviously works for some people, and it would probably work much better if I was committed to that one thing, but I'm not, and I'm very aware I'm not. My interests are not there. My interests are in the overall thing. I do not want to be pigeonholed into one demographic or sport. I myself will also have a screen printing setup, so I print my own clothing, which I've just touched on. Selling your own clothing is very difficult. I pretty much do not rely on that at all for earnings, and none of this is an exaggeration. By when I say at all, I mean at all, like as in it's not earning me $10,000 a year, it's earning about 100. So and I also do film photography work for people, which can be quite lucrative. It's also, again, very difficult, very difficult, because there's a lot more people doing it, and there's a lot more people doing it for free, which if you're trying to earn money out of it and you know, pay some bills, has become more difficult because of that. But it is possible, and I make dollars doing sort of more the outdoor stuff. You can just cop out, be a sellout, and probably do wedding photography and earn good money. So that's an example. What else do I do? Yeah, I have a job. I make skim boards, spearfishing equipment, my own clothing, screen printing, and photography, and those are probably the biggest things where I earn money from. Obviously, overall in a big picture, and for something like yourself, if you're wondering, I mean, whatever field of interest, there's usually a product or some gap in the market where you can make a product and sell it. The obstacle there sometimes is the very steep and very long learning curve. It can potentially take you years to get an income back from that, again, which that's very important if you need money from it right now. That's something, and you've got to learn the skill set. Like typically there's thousands of hours go out as well as thousands of dollars before they come in, so that's something to keep in mind when it comes to products. Okay, I've got a note here. Online, now this is something, if say for instance you want to earn money doing what you love but you don't want to make a product, now the only other way I see fit here is online. You've got to somehow gather an interest via some form of social media, and have people tuning in. I do not know of really another way on that front. So I mean, you could be a pain in the ass drop shipping salesperson that you see advertising themselves. There's people who work from anywhere, dorks, but I don't know anything about that and never want to go down that route. So obviously developing a following online. Now YouTube is the only platform with a click-based monetized system. You can earn money through Facebook and Instagram with brand deals and stuff like that, but when I mean click-based, when you click on a video like you've clicked on this YouTube video, it generates money for me. Now I'll give you an example. I will pull up Social Blade's website, where you can sort of tell relatively accurately what people on YouTube are earning. Firstly, I'm going to do my main channel, which we're not on. We're on my second channel. This is all public information, so I don't care if you know it or not, because it's really not that impressive either. I'm going to give you an idea of what I earn purely from YouTube. Now, this doesn't incorporate like brand deals. This doesn't mean people paying me to do film work, nothing like that. This is purely ad-based revenue. Here we have at the top of my page, and you can see what the views are doing basically in a live thing right now. I think we'll just use the sum. We'll sum it up at the very top. You can scroll down the page, go to Social Blade, into my channels. You can see what I'm doing, but at the top of the page here, irrelevant stuff, and it says estimated monthly earnings between $6 and $103, which is the estimated yearly earnings of 77 to 1.2k. Now I can tell you accurately that is roughly mid-range for that. So over the course of the year, I will earn about, it says 77 to 1.2, so probably $600 to $700 of that currently right now is accurate, and that's in US dollars. To give you an idea, my Adobe subscription for my editing software each month is over 100, so I'm losing money just on that transaction alone, which gives you an idea of how tough YouTube earnings is. My channel's doing over 20,000, the main channel over 20,000 views a month, so that's not a lot of money. That's like $60 or something that I'm earning from that channel. So obviously with YouTube, you don't want to think that is like it's going to work. You need to do some serious views and some serious work. It is a bit. I would say YouTube channel right now is a lot like starting a brand. It is the best time in the world to start a YouTube channel right now, but it is the hardest time probably ever to make impact. And we're pulling up this channel's statistics here right now, because it makes sense. Again, estimated monthly earnings $3 to $54, as well as estimated yearly earnings $41 to $648. So let's take my combined yearly total of about $2,000 from YouTube earnings alone per year, and that's the maximum. So you can probably look at it like $1,500, you know, $1,200 to $1,300 to $1,500, that sort of mark per year for YouTube earnings. That is nothing. To a lot of you kids out there who don't have bills or outgoings or costs to live, that probably sounds like quite a bit. Like I mentioned, my Adobe editing software costs me more than that each year, just on that transaction alone. So if you were to rely on that, you've lost money. That's a great example of how YouTube earnings work. It does, however, make money. And now if you can get a channel that really blows up and really works like it has for a lot of people, I'm going to go to Youngbloodz channel, which is obviously a very popular, probably the most popular spearfishing channel worldwide now. Now, don't give me any, oh, this is his information we shouldn't know, because it's public information. You can go to the website. Youngbloodz right here. I'm not a huge fan of Youngbloodz because I feel he's making the exact same video every single time. But people love it. And his channel's blowed up with estimated yearly earnings between 44,000 and over 700,000 K, which basically that means his channel's growing. He's probably going to make $500,000 US earnings this year in YouTube ad revenue. Now that is a serious figure. That is, you know, $10,000 a week. And that is real. That will be somewhat accurate. He will be earning sort of roughly that pay rate from now on, because the channel has absolutely blown up. He's basically got the golden egg, made it. He's probably going to be set up for a long time from now. And if he does it right, you know, it's setting you up for the rest of your life. And bloody good on him, because I know he works hard. And YouTube can be like that. If it's your turn, it's your turn. We're obviously all working like that. I would obviously love that to happen here, but it's not something you can rely on, because you can be making videos for years and earn $1,000 a year, like myself. So yeah, probably a bit of a ramble. Now that's what I do. Here's probably something that you guys can do. Obviously a product, service, that's purely up to you. There's no advice needed. You just got to decide what you want to make or provide it or make it. It's very simple. If you want to make progress online, now I have a very good knowledge of this, but I'm probably not a fantastic example of it. The channels are growing. I just haven't had a big break. I've never had a hand. I've never had a really big go at anything. If I was a young fellow, like if I was 14 and at school and really wanted to do this, I wouldn't listen to university advisors at school. I probably wouldn't be listening to my teachers. I would be learning, but I wouldn't be listening to them on career advice. I would be if you want to make a product, I would certainly address looking at that and making something. And I would also look at putting stuff online and filling a hole in the market where there is one. Here in New Zealand, I don't know of any good surfing content that's going online from anyone. Surfing is very difficult because surfers are the biggest critics of their own sport and can be terribly negative. I'm saying that because out of everything I've dealt with, surfers are by far considerably, I'm talking 10 to 20 times more negative about their own chosen sport than any group of people that I've dealt with. If I were to do it with skimboarding, like a couple of the guys seem to have cracked it on the media front with skimboarding overseas, and of course surfing, we'll go back to surfing like Jamie O'Brien and people like him. There's a few Hawaiian guys who are producing videos now and Jamie will be earning relatively good money out of YouTube earnings alone, and obviously his own merch and incorporating sales through that interest. Spearfishing in New Zealand, we don't really have a lot. I know I produce the most content, but there's a lot of guys producing what I view as, I don't care about a video of 2 minutes long of someone shooting fish. Do not care. I'm not going to sit through it. Pretty much everyone's using the same music. I've seen it before. Don't need to see it again. That's how I treat it, and that's how I look at it. People forward me videos relatively regularly, and if that's what you're forwarding me, I don't watch it. It's just that simple. There needs to be, you need to sell them on personality and perspective. If I was a young fella, I certainly think in New Zealand there is great space for someone of a young age doing outdoors activity and putting it on YouTube. I firmly believe that, and I would love to see someone do it, and that means you have to be in it. Your personality, your perspective on everything, and keeping it very New Zealand and keeping it very Kiwi. I believe that if I was 15 right now, that's what I would be doing, and I think it would be a great way to never have to work a proper job in your life. And I guess the con to that is that it won't work, which you have to keep in mind, that these things can obviously not work, but that's kind of like any job, anything like that. It's obviously, you start small, you work it part-time, you work it on the side of everything else, and go from there, because if it does work, you've got a free reign for the rest of your life, and I think that's what we all want at the end of the day. I know I do. Okay, so that clip on the back of the camera is about 20 minutes long, so that was obviously a bit of a ramble with a bit of filled time in there. That's it for the week. We've got a fine weekend coming up, so we've got a few plans. It's Danny's birthday, so we're going to be away, I believe at this stage around Pārtau for a couple of days. So, or Pārtaua, if someone's from there, they can confirm how to actually pronounce it, because I hear it from both sides. So, I hope that helps. I hope that helps a few. I hope that gives you a bit of perspective on what's going on. That's it, really. I'm Sam Price. I'll see you at the beach.